All the hits. It is 104.7, Kiss 104.7. How you doing? I'm Bryant Corbin, and it is my pleasure. I actually have an interview with a friend all the way from Australia, and Truth Devour, and she is the author of fiction stories. How are you doing, Truth?
Really good. How are you?
I am doing so good. We've been looking forward to this interview, and I just must say, you are super talented, and you have such a sweet, sweet spirit.
Oh, thank you so much. It's nice to see I've lulled you into believing that. It's awesome.
Well, you've obviously got the talent, and there's so many questions I wanted to ask you. First of all, how did you get started being an author and being a writer?
Okay, that's actually a really good question. The reality is that I've been writing ever since I picked up a pen. So for me, it was a form of release, expression, creative ideas just flowed through me. And it was something that I almost used as part of my life force. So, you know, from 8 upwards, I think the first time I ever wrote lyrics to a song, I was 6 years old. I wrote poetry predominantly. You know, my mother recently had said to me that she thought she would see me more as that I would come out as a poet, not as a writer, but she's read my books and she loves them, which is really nice. So what had happened was I was writing books. I've probably written 8 novels, never published. And then I had some circumstances happen in my life that changed my thought process and made me reevaluate what I really wanted to do. And then I just decided, you know what? I love writing. I might as well just put it out there and see if I can convert my career into becoming a full-time author, because I would prefer that. And yeah, it ended up that I went to a few publishing companies that were interested in the manuscripts. I wasn't really keen on all the terms and conditions. I'm not a big fan of rules. So I opted to initially just self-publish, went down that route, and it's been amazing. The experience, the things that you learn about the industry, how to promote yourself, all the other aspects that I would have otherwise taken for granted had I gone down the route of publishing company. It's been amazing. And it's also stimulated me creatively in other aspects, which I just think is fantastic. So it's been in me. That's why I've done it.
That's what I'm so amazed by, because, you know, even just doing the little research, I was checking out how you are a contemporary romantic person. What is the inspiration behind your novels and your writing? You know, what gets the truth going into the truth?
Well, okay, so the interesting thing is I'm a perpetual self-entertainer. So a lot of the things that are actually written in that trilogy are, in fact, things that happened in my life. A lot of the stuff that I've done in there is very much a representation of who I am. So there were people, as an example, I can tell you that I knew were avid readers. I didn't tell anyone that I became an author. I didn't tell anyone for 2.5, 3 years. I then issued a couple of the books to some friends of mine who I knew loved reading, one of which isn't into romantic books at all, and the other one is an avid reader of romantic books. And I'm just curious, as I've read these and I thought they were pretty good, but I just wanted your opinion. So they both read them, and the one that doesn't like romantic books, I'd only given her the first one. She said, there's got to be more to it. I want more. So her response was really fantastic. And I thought, okay, so it's reaching a larger audience. That's great. But the one that's the romantic reader, she looks at me and she goes, it's you, isn't it? Straight away. And I looked at her and I said, what do you mean? I don't know what you mean. She said, oh, my Lord, I hear your voice. This is you. And I'm just going, maybe. So, look, I lead a very colourful life. I get exposed to some amazing experiences, and a lot of that is what helps to colour the pages of what I write. And it's also, it's almost like a set of memoirs in a fiction story. Obviously, I change the times and the dates and, you know, places and bits and pieces, but a lot of that exists, and it's been a fantastic journey, and I thought it would be worthwhile writing.
See, that is awesome. Tell everybody about your latest project.
So Illuminarium, this is it's the first book out of a 5 series that I'm bringing out. Now, this book, I love it. It's basically, without giving you too much detail, because I think it's really important for people not to have preconceived ideas, especially with the concepts that I'm putting into the book and the fantasy, it's contemporary fantasy, paranormal. So the realities of what I'm putting in there has undertones of what exists in society now, what exists as part of history, but also what is predicted for the future. And a lot of that is based on perspective of concepts around, you think you know what happened in the past.
Right.
But with a new set of eyes, with a new set of reality, revising what's occurred, you can recognise that, you only interpreted a fraction of what had occurred. And in actual fact, there's potentially so much more that has happened that you weren't ready to interpret, understand, because where you're standing now is a different person to where you were back then. So all those things that you think you know aren't necessarily what you know. Or psychologically, when you talk about, people say, oh, well, it's in the past, you can't change the past. My reality is that I believe you can change the past, because if I can alter your perspective on what you see and understand of your past, by its mere nature, you've altered your past because you've altered your perspective and understanding. Yeah?
Right. That's right.
So that book encapsulates a whole series of that. It's nothing to do with contemporary romantic at all. It's everything to do with contemporary fantasy and paranormal, but it has a lot of psychological edge. It has a lot of push. It makes you think. It makes you want to retrospect and look at yourself and go, you know what? Oh, my Lord. This is what I thought, but this is actually what I believe now happens. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's stimulating. It's very stimulating. I love it.
See, now, your book won the Best Romance Book at the LA Book Festival, right? 2015?
Wantin, yes, it did. So it's actually quite challenging. I've been entering my books into competitions, but I realised that there's not many out there that I can identify at this point that are set specifically for trilogies. So, I can't submit the second and third book to be assessed if they haven't read the first book.
Right.
So I've just been submitting Wantin. And so far, I've been placed in every competition as an honorary mention. So at the London Book Festival 2015, honorary mention, South Coast, East Coast of USA, honorary mentions, and then won the romance category in LA for 2015 Book Festival, which was just brilliant. I was stoked. I was really, really pleased.
Wow. I'm just blown away. It's so amazing to see what you're doing. And a lot of people don't know you're from Australia. So are you just now really breaking the U.S. market?
Yes, that's right. So I sort of released the books in 2013. Part of it, I'd started to pick up a bit of an audience. A lot of people that have read the trilogy are very passionate. They talk to me on, they contact me through Goodreads and other areas and basically tell me what they think. And some of them are begging me to write a fourth story. And I keep laughing and saying, yep, it's going to happen, but not yet, because I'm, currently writing this 5 series. But I found that there was more reception in the UK and US for the book than in Australia, predominantly because of the way the market's structured. But I also find that a lot of the growth has come from readily available advertising, and promotional work is more accessible overseas than it is here. So it's been a very interesting learning curve and a process, and I love it. I just think it's fabulous. I've got to meet so many different people, so many different characters. I had one woman who really didn't like the books at all, who had, written, a 1-star effort for the first book, and then went and read the second book, and she had a blog, so I'd go and have a look at this blog, and you'd be like, oh, Talia's done it again. Talia is the main character. And she basically would, be saying, and kept carrying on and writing all this stuff. And I couldn't stop laughing. I thought it was brilliant. Because, one, I couldn't understand, being who I am, if I read one book and I don't like it, I'm not going to read the next one.
Right.
She read all 3. So I wrote to her and said, thank you. Because honestly, I would never do that.
Yeah,
if I don't
most
like
people
I'm not wasting
wouldn't.
my lifetime. I'm not going to waste my lifetime on, you've got precious moments here. Utilize them for the things you enjoy.
Right.
The way she actually made it sound like torture, and I just kept laughing because I couldn't understand. Why would you? If you don't like it, no problems. I can't please everybody, and nor does anyone expect to be, absolutely admired by absolutely everyone. We're all individuals for a reason. But her response by the third book, which she also disliked, she started to warm to it, but she still disliked. I thought, I'll give you 5 stars for effort because I never would have done that. So I just wrote and said, thanks very much for doing it. And I hope the next read you select, please make it one you enjoy.
Yeah, it's not like we had a gun to your head, to read this.
It doesn't bother me. I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, it's fine. It's just I've never in a million years would I have expected someone that didn't enjoy the book or it wasn't their thing go ahead to read the next 2. It's like, wow. Okay.
It says a lot about what you have to offer because obviously there was something there to keep her pressing on to the next one and to the next one. So
see, that's a beautiful thing. That is very true, and that was part of where my curiosity stems from. I was also very conscious of, there's been some things in the media about authors attacking people that give poor ratings or whatever, and so I didn't want her to believe or think or feel threatened by any stretch of the imagination. So she doesn't even know that I was watching her. It was only in the end because the actual reviews and stuff were posted on some of my sites that I just responded back and said, thanks very much for your time, I really appreciate it. And it was true, I did appreciate it, and seriously, I got a really good laugh out of it. But I guess that's just my weird sense of humour. I thought it was hilarious. Fascinating, really. Human nature is fascinating.
So it's
a beautiful thing.
If people in the U.S. want to get your book, how do they go about getting it?
Well, it's on Smashwords, it's on Kobo, it's basically everywhere I can possibly get it submitted. I've got it with Amazon at the moment. So it's for 99 cents on Amazon because I have an ability to control the actual fees. So quick and easy. So yeah, you can pick it up for 99 cents in terms of Wantin, and then I've reduced the other 2 books. I think they're $2.99 at the moment. Originally they were all retailing for $9.99 when I dropped them down. Come on the journey.
Yes. The listeners, where, like I said, we've been playing your ad, and we've actually had a couple of people that have called up and they were fascinated. We've been promoting, we're going to have you on the air. So this is a big deal. This is a big deal, and everyone wants to know the truth. And your name is awesome. I could definitely, you could be a DJ easily with your name. Easily.
Yeah, I read that part where you said, good DJ name. only if you say you're the truth, and then I'm there and go, yo, I'm the truth. Or you say you're the truth, and I go, that's the truth. Because I have to endorse you see.
Yeah, I see. I love it. Well, Truth, is there what advice? I have to say this. I always like to say this because you will obviously be influencing young writers and people that are trying to maybe get into the business that don't know how. What advice would you give to up and coming writers or people that would like to be where you are now?
Okay. Firstly, if you've got a passion for it, just write. On the days that you feel like there's nothing to write, just write. It's amazing what you can learn, what you can do, what you can create with just moments of time, 10 minutes on the train or anywhere you go, you can write. I always have a notepad with me. I do actually have quite an exceptional memory, so a lot of the times I can create the stories into my head and, hours later write them down. So for me, I'm constantly writing in one form or fashion. The other is read. Read the things that you find are enjoyable and then start to actually analyse what is it that you like about those things. But don't copy the style. Find your own style. And while you're writing, it'll come out. it'll be something that naturally just surfaces if you allow it. So the biggest thing that I do, there's some people that had wanted to go into a creative field and they were feeling like they were stifled. So I did this exercise with them where I asked them to basically sit down, and what I did was put all these pictures of animals in front of them. I looked at them and I said, so what animal are you? And then people, wrote down what the animals were. Then I looked at it and I said, okay, I said, which one are you? So everybody said something. And I said, so there were about 12 people in the room. This is for a creative group for an adult learning class that they asked me to do. And I said, yep. I said, all right. I said, so there's 12 of you there. No worries. I said, and all 12 of you, out of the 15 animals, you've all picked an animal on the pictures. And I said, yep. I said, so what you're telling me is that out of the millions of animals in this world, I came in here not knowing you, had given you 15 pictures, and I got it right. Every one of you is a power animal associated here. The response was, well, you didn't tell us that we couldn't, that we could use an animal outside of these pictures. And I looked at them and said, I didn't tell you couldn't. And then they looked, I said, was the constraint from me or from yourself? And that epiphany made them realise how conditioned they are to trying to follow, trying to comply. And my response is, break the rules, break them all. Learn them, then break them. Find your own niche, find your own style, find your own drivers and what you enjoy, and you will flourish. And that's the part that's really important. The other thing is that, reach out to writers, ask them questions. And most people most authors are happy to be able to answer questions. One of the things that I'm just developing on my website at the moment is for Illuminarium, that entire series, which is the Soliloquy Labyrinth series, is basically me wanting to engage a group of what I call the super review crew to come on the journey with me. I don't want people to rate it and like me and rate it based on liking me. I want them to read the books and then rate them out there on the marketplace. But I need to engage people that are willing to take the journey to read the entire series. And as I'm writing it, I'm actually posting things on the website. So hopefully by the end of this month, the website will have, for the Illuminarium novel, you'll see how I planned it, how I planned the 5 series, how I planned the novel, how I broke down the characters, and what I used as a stimulus to be able to write around the emotions of the book. And it's all broken down, and it's got the pictures and the details. So I'm basically giving anyone that's interested my writing techniques, so that they can then look at that and leverage off it, not to copy it, but to understand this is my process. Everybody does things differently. Find what works for you. So I thought it was really important to be able to not only appreciate the people that are coming on the journey for the reviews, but to actually show them things, because they're obviously keen, avid readers, possibly people that want to write. Here's a bonus. I'll take you in and show you what I do. So, yeah, that's going to be launched shortly.
Truth, I must say I have definitely enjoyed this interview, and we want to thank you for coming on KISS 104.7.
It was an absolute pleasure. You have no idea of how delightful you are. You really are. And I have to say, there is nothing better than someone that laughs at all my jokes. So you're a winner to me.
Well, your jokes are funny. I mean, I had a ball. I enjoyed talking to you, and I'm sure the listeners are all engaged in this interview. And you're just a really sweet person. Really sweet.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And
we got to have you back on again from time to time. You know that, don't you?
Well, I'd insist on it.
Yes.
I'll have to come up with some new material, some new one-liners and jokes. But, the pressure's on, but I'm pretty sure I can do it.
I don't think you have any problem.
No, fly by the seat of my pants. I'm that kind of person. It's all good.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Truth Devour. Truth, thank you so much.
No problem. Thanks so much, guys.
Keep it locked in. We got much, much more. It is KISS 104.7.